Who's there?
Heading into the dreary town of Morthal, we see a group of villagers huddled out front of the Jarl's hall.
What's the Jarl going to do about it?
How are we supposed to feel safe in our own homes?
Please, enough already. I have told Ygritte of your concerns. She'll look after you all. Please, go about your business.
We've no need for wizards in our midst.
Morthal has enough problems as it is.
It's no use. Let's get back to it then.
Curious as to what the fuss is about, we approach Jorgen and ask him, what isn't the Jarl dealing with?
The world's going mad, and our Jarl does what? She hides inside with her visions. We need a leader, not some mystic.
Oh?
Trust you saw the house that burned down. Peculiar bit of business that was. And that's on top of noises from the marsh in the night, tales of monsters, and now this wizard in our midst. What's a man to do if he can't look to his Jarl for help?
With the first clue from Jorgen, we head to the burned down house to see exactly what he was talking about. Upon closer inspection, it is quite clear that the house has been totally gutted by a fire, save, of course, the fireplace. We decide that we should ask around town a little more about this burnt down house. And there are several people that can start the quest laid to rest in the town, but the easiest and closest is the guard standing out front of the Jarl's hall.
That's good armor you've got there, friend. Iron, solid and true.
Is there a story behind that burnt down house?
It's bad luck to talk about that place. Y'all's been looking for someone who ain't superstitious, though. Be looking for a fool, if you ask me. All right, then.
So if you aren't feeling particularly superstitious, you can head to the Jarl directly and find out more about the circumstances surrounding the mysterious burnt down house.
So, life has brought you to Morthal, and to me. What purpose this serves we will no doubt see. Welcome.
I hear you want someone to look into that house fire.
Hrogar's house fire? Well, he lost his wife and daughter in the blaze. My people believe it to be cursed now. Who am I to gainsay them?
And what does Hrogar say happened?
Hrogar blames his wife for spilling bear fat in the fire. Many folk think he set the fire himself.
What? Why would he do that to his own family?
Lust can make a man do the unthinkable. The ashes were still warm when he pledged himself to Alva.
By the gods, why haven't you arrested him?
On rumor and gossip? No. But you, a stranger, might find the truth for us. Sift through the ashes that others are too fearful to touch. See what they tell you. Should you prove him guilty or innocent, I will reward you. Hrogar's fate is in your hands.
The plot has definitely thickened. Why would a man kill his own family for lust? That seems so bizarre that he would do something so brazen, and especially with the town watching. If nothing else, to sate our own curiosity, we head back to the burned down house to see if we can find any clues that if it was Hrogar or if there was something else behind the mysterious house fire. Heading back into the house, we look around and see the ghost of what appears to be a little girl.
Who's there? Is that you, Father?
Who are you?
Helgi, but Father says I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Are you a stranger?
No, I'm a friend. Do you know what happened to your house?
The smoke woke me up. I was hot and I was scared, so I hid. Then it got cold and dark. I'm not scared anymore, but I'm lonely. Will you play with me?
If I do, will you tell me who set the fire?
Okay, let's play hide and seek. You find me, and I'll tell you. We have to wait for nighttime, though. The other one is playing too, and she can't come out until then.
The other one? What do you mean?
I can't tell you. She might hear me. She's so close. If you can find me first, I can tell you.
Although a child in spirit, poor Helgi has presumably died in the house fire and her soul is now at unrest. Doing as she's asked, we wait until nightfall to find her and this mysterious other that she speaks of. Maybe we will find clues as to what really happened to poor Helgi and her family. Now, we could head into the village, but I think seeing a little girl's ghost would probably have a lot more townsfolk talking about it, so we decide to head out to the north and start to search around there. As we start to look around, we notice some pillars and made of stone and what appears to be a coffin with a woman standing next to it. Maybe this is the woman Helgi spoke of. As we approach, she draws her weapon.
I'm warning you. Back off!
Warned, we clearly can see that something nefarious is going on. Stepping closer, she decides to attack us. And although we fell her with a couple of arrows, searching her reveals that her name is Lalette, and she is a vampire. With 7 gold, vampire dust, vampire armor, boots, and an iron war axe on her possession. We now get closer to what we can assume is Helgi's coffin and continue to search for Helgi.
You found me! Layla was trying to find me too, but I'm glad you found me first. Layla was told to burn Mommy and me, but she didn't want to. She wanted to play with me forever and ever.
Oh,
She
what
kissed me on the
happened?
neck, and I got so cold that the fire didn't even hurt. Layla thought she could take me and keep me, but she can't. I'm all burned up. I'm tired. I'm gonna sleep for a while now.
That poor little girl became a vampire's plaything? She would forever be with her undead? And who's this?
Laylet. She's dead. Ysmir's beard. She's a vampire. She's dead. Laylet is dead.
What can you tell me about your wife?
Laylet. I thought she left to join the Stormcloaks. Oh, my poor Laylet.
Did you at least notice anything strange before she left?
She began to spend a lot of time with Alva. Yet just a week before, she despised her. In fact, the night she disappeared, she was supposed to meet Alva. Alva told me later that she never showed up. I never got to tell her goodbye.
Poor guy, I think they may have met after all.
You think Alva? But that means... Ye gods! You think Alva is a vampire?
It's a possibility we can't ignore.
No, you're wrong. You must be wrong. Laylet may have met her fate out in the marsh. I refuse to believe Alva had anything to do with this. There is no way you can prove it to the Jarl. I hope Alva is not what you think.
Although Thorinir looks like he does not want to believe that his wife was in cahoots with a vampire, and instead, her story is clean even though he was told supposedly she was meant to join the Stormcloaks. We are going to head to Alva to further our investigation and find some proof for the Jarl that she is maybe perhaps a vampire. Or at least get closer to uncovering the mystery of the vampires of Morthal. Unlocking the door to Alva's house, which is next to the guards' quarters, we see Hrogar is inside her house. Upon detection, he will attack you immediately.
Never should have come here. Ready to cry now, huh?
Although it is possible to just straight kill Hrogar and then loot his corpse, on his person he has ale, cooked beef, gold, key to Alva's house, a silver garnet ring, silver ring, boots, clothes, steel arrows, actually no, that's what I just put in him, a silver necklace and a steel war axe. Although killing him will net you some loot, it is actually better for the quest to leave him alive, as of course you will no longer be able to interact with him throughout. So coming back to the house at a later time or sneaking around him, we can then search the house without him present. After ransacking the house, if you so choose, you can head down to the basement for further clues. Inside the basement, we first see a coffin and blood and gore on the ground. It appears a woman, a vampire, is asleep, and we can see upon closer inspection this is the vampire Alva, who is only asleep during the daytime as many vampires are. Now, you can choose to attack her, though the hitbox on the coffin is not very helpful. If you decide to kill her now, you'll find on her 50 gold, a key to her house, some petty soul gems, vampire dust, boots, and the very rare tavern clothes. More importantly, underneath Alva is a journal, and it reads, "My life is dreary. Where is my prince to come rescue me? Where is my bold Nord warrior to sweep me off my feet? I met a man today when picking night flowers. He's exciting and exotic. We kissed in the moonlight. It was so romantic. I'm going to see him again tonight. Now I understand the true colours of night. Morthal has shown me the true black of night and the true red of blood. He has promised me a feast of blood if I do his bidding in Morthal. Hrogar was easy to seduce. Morthal said I should find a protector first, someone to watch over my coven during the day. Hrogar is perfect. Lailette came to visit me tonight. She slaked my thirst. I've hidden her away to let her rise as my handmaiden. I've spread the rumor in the town that she left to join the war. Ha! Fools. Morthal has confided his grand plan to me. I am to seduce the guardsmen, one at a time, and make them my slaves. Then, he and the others from the coven can descend upon Morthal and take the entire town. We won't kill them. They will become cattle for our thirst, an endless supply of blood, and an entire town to protect us from the cursed sun. Hrogar's family is becoming inconvenient. I've told Lailette to kill them all, but make it look like an accident. Hrogar must be seen as innocent if he's going to be my protector. Ah, that little fool. Lailette burnt Hrogar's family alive. I asked for an accident and she gave me a scandal. To make matters worse, she tried to turn his little girl Helgi, except Lailette couldn't even get that right. She killed the child and left the body to burn. Something is wrong with Lailette. She keeps talking about Helgi. I think her mind has snapped. She seems to think that the child can be brought back to be her companion. There's a stranger in town looking into the fire. I'll have to be careful. We can take that evidence, head back to the Jarl. It's pretty damning that Alva is behind a vampire coven about to descend upon the town. Although for this playthrough, again, just like Hrogar, if we choose to leave Alva alive, she will actually come back to see us later in the quest. So as an aside, I am going to continue the quest, but keep in mind, Alva is still alive. Heading to the Jarl's Hall, we have a lot of damning evidence to show her about Alva and the coven of vampires.
Is Hrogar innocent or not?
Alva set the fire. She's the murderer.
Alva? Didn't think she had it in her.
Actually, she's a vampire. She planned to enslave the whole town.
I assume you have proof? Can't go making accusations like that without proof.
I have Alva's journal.
So it's true, the traitorous bitch. Morthal owes you a debt. Here, you were promised a reward for solving the crime, but I need one more favor from you. Morthal is still in danger. The journal mentions Morthal, a master vampire I thought was destroyed a century ago. I'll gather together some able-bodied warriors to clean out Morthal's lair. They'll be waiting outside for you to lead them. Until next time.
And with that, we head out front of the hall to gather the villagers who were at the start of the quest to take on the vampire's coven.
Take us to Morthal's lair.
Take us! Yeah!
Kill the vampire!
Kill him!
Kill him.
Destroy
She's
him.
dead. Lailette is dead.
You want to help me kill the vampire?
I want vengeance for my wife. Vengeance for Lailette. We're marching on Morthal's lair, whether you come with us or not.
It seems that the villagers, all riled up, are going to head from High Moon Hall out to Morthal's lair, whether I want their help or not. And they head off in what appears to be not such a subtle nod to a certain musical sequence in Beauty and the Beast. Out front of the lair, the confronting image of skulls and gore, the villagers seem to lose a little bit of their steam.
Place looks
Stand.
dangerous.
Until next time. Yeah, kinda scary, too.
And it's full of vampires?
Cowards! We must kill the vampires! We have to make them pay!
Of course. But why not let him go in first?
Well, it looks like we're gonna have to do this solo. They've really run out of steam seeing all of this death and decay. I don't really blame them, but speaking to Thonir, he says,
I'm just a poor man trying to make a living. I'd leave Morthal were it in my power.
I have to go into the vampire's lair alone, huh?
They may be cowards, but I'm not. I'll go with you.
Now I can choose to take Thonir with me, but even though he is a brave man, he probably will get himself killed. I think it's better if you waited here.
I suppose you're right. I'm not a fighting man. Go, and avenge my Laylet for me. Aye.
With that, Thonir joins the rest of the villagers and head back to Morthal, and we head into Movarth's lair, alone, to take on a coven of vampires. Entering the caverns, we first see that there's a winding staircase with some spiders down below. Using stealth, we can take out the spider and its frostbite counterpart. Heading through the narrow cavern to the south, we enter a larger cave which seems to have a man sitting at a table looking at a particular object. As we zoom in closer, we see that it is a human skull, and he's probably one of the vampires. With a stealth attack and an arrow in his brain, we approach the body of a vampire's thrall. Heading into the cavern to the east, it's actually a dead end with some carts full of blood, bones, and gore. Clearly the vampires have been feeding for some time and are now trying to find new ways to store the bodies of their victims. Entering another cavern to the north, we hear a vampire.
Well, seems like you have a bit of gold left in your pockets, don't you, my friend? Yes. Let me just take this coin purse off your hands for you. And those nice boots you've got there.
Sounds like we've got a gravedigger.
Now, you just stay here with all your friends, and I'm gonna go get my shovel.
As we sneak up closer, we see they're not even burying the bodies, merely throwing them in a pit, and he's taking their valuables from them. As he was about to look for his shovel, we decide maybe we can help him out and throw his shovel into the pit. Alerted, probably unwisely, he attacks us, and we retreat into the ghastly pit of bodies.
You'll make a fine rug, cat.
Putting a final arrow in his throat, ironically, he is now a part of the bodies in which he was looting. Looting his corpse, we find a hide shield, some gold, some other various armors, and an orcish mace. Looking through the various loot, knickknacks, clothes, there's some potions on the table as well as skulls, but basically another cart of bodies. This looks to be where the thrall slept, and it was his duty to strip anybody of all of their valuables and possessions. Heading north into the next cave, we see an up-ramp which is built out a little bit more and are faced with what appears to be a long table, and at the head of it, the master vampire, Morthal. The table is littered with different meats, bones, valuables. Looks like they feast regularly there, thanks to the spoils of their kills. There are several ways to tackle taking on Morthal, but if he has any guards around, he can also resurrect them, which makes it in your best interest to take them out before trying to attack the master vampire. Doing a more stealthy approach, we see one of his guards is actually leaving to the west, so we try and rout him as we go around the side cave. Inside the cave, there's a small alcove with a sleeping vampire which we can stealthily attack. Paralyzing the vampire Mistwalker, we actually kill her as she sleeps, which makes our job all the much easier. As stated before, if we keep heading through the cave, we meet the guard before he can alert anybody. As an expert marksman, we have a higher chance to paralyze victims, which comes in handy taking down these thralls because this is a cinematic playthrough. In higher difficulties, this would be a much, much harder battle, and I highly recommend you take your time, back up, and don't just run through headstrong as we are. Heading back to where the first vampire we took on is, we see that she's a collector of shoes, and she has a book which gives us +1 to illusion. Searching her corpse, we find some gold, lockpicks, vampire dust, and vampire armor and boots. As stated before, if you keep Alva alive, she actually flees the town of Morthal once she's found out as a vampire and heads here to be in the protection of the coven.
Is there something I can do for you?
Ironically, if the vampires happen upon her at all during this quest, they will attack her, and she's felled very easily, so it's best to try and keep her alive, if you so choose. Heading back into the main cavern, we attack Morthal now that his guard is gone. Morthal is an incredibly powerful spellcaster. He will dual wield lightning as well as ice, among other formidable attacks. Again, the only reason why I'm standing up to Morthal is because this is a more cinematic lore playthrough. However, I highly advise that you have a strategy, a lot of potions, and that you can back up into the caverns from where we came with the gravedigger, and there's a certain point in which the vampires will not chase you down. Hiding behind the throne, we give Morthal a couple of good arrows into the sternum. Once he's taken enough damage, he will actually go invisible.
I cannot best you! No, not like this.
Although invisible, unfortunately as this is Skyrim, he will have a quest marker above his head and be pretty easy to find if he still tries to flee.
You remind me of my cousin's cat. Killed that too.
Heading to where Alva is, Morthal is attempting to flee and becomes visible once more.
You can't beat me!
Never should have come here.
Ah! We're routed! Fall back!
As stated previously, Alva will attack Morthal, but he's in a weakened state and cannot defend
Guess it's all
himself.
clear.
Perfect time to put an arrow through his heart.
What do you need, handsome?
With the master vampire killed, we can collect off his corpse some vampire dust, vampire armor, boots, iron arrow, and not much else. We head back to his long table, and behind it to the east, we find another nice little alcove where we can hear another guard. With a couple of well-placed arrows, we take care of the thrall and see this room is actually an alchemy room. It seems that he has got pretty well equipped in here. Now you can check the knickknacks, but really the thing that is of the most value in this room is this chest, which inside it has ebony boots of dwindling flame, which is just higher level gear that's random, some gold, a grand soul gem, lockpick, iron arrow 10, and Meridia's beacon, which will start the Daedra quest if you pick it up.
A new hand touches the beacon.
All I can think about these days.
Listen, hear me and obey. A foul darkness has seeped into my temple. A darkness that you will destroy. Return my beacon to Mount Kilcreath, and I will make you the instrument of my cleansing light.
This has started the quest Break of Dawn, and although there are some other vampires around, we can loot the grand table full of other various meats as well as some knickknacks and obviously a lot of gold sprayed around. Heading out of the southern entrance, we see two vampires conversing upon a platform. One is a thrall and the other is the dangerous Mistwalker. Putting the thrall down, we take care of the Mistwalker with a shot to the eye and see that they are also set up, it looks like, in formation around the main hall to guard Morthal. It seems that everything that Morthal does is to guard himself, whether to have Alva have people that she can turn for his feasting, or even his guards all around him. Morthal was insidiously clever strategist in keeping his bloodlust slaked by having fresh food, resources, and guards all around. Heading through the caverns, we actually find that we are back where the Barrows of Gore are, and we can head back out of Morthal's lair. Before we get to the top of the platform, however, we're greeted by a somewhat familiar face. The young girl Helgi. Approaching her, she says,
Mother's calling me. It's time for me to sleep now. I'm so tired. Thank you for making her feel better.
Although harrowing is this tale, a little girl and a man's wife have been killed senselessly for a coven of vampires. We have rid the town of Morthal of this ghastly affliction and head back to the Jarl to tell her this somewhat good news.
Well, look at you. If only everyone acted like you did.
The master vampire Morthal is dead.
Tamriel is full of wisdom and magic, if one is willing to look for it. Few have their eyes open. By the 8, I didn't think he could do it. Now maybe we can put all this behind us. Take this as a token of our gratitude. Until next time.
With that, we've got 1,000 gold, we've gained some prestige with the Jarl, and we've cleared the town of vampires. Back to Alva's house, as promised. If Alva and Hrogar are both left alive, this leaves some interesting and unique dialogue which can be taken advantage of.
Thank you for saving me from Alva. I was completely under her evil spell. I'll never forgive myself for what happened to Helgi and my wife.
What do you need, handsome? Need something?
Surprisingly, Alva is also alive and in the town.
Oh look, we have company.
Whether she's been turned again, I think she's still a vampire. However, she's non-hostile and even greets you.
I'm not one for talk. Try to keep to myself.
A strange dynamic to happen in the game, but it happens nonetheless. And with that, that's the end of the tragedy of Morthal and the Coven of Vampires. Although gone, I don't think that their taint will ever be forgotten, and we head out into the lands of Skyrim for
Have you
our
seen
next
my
adventure.
mother? I'm still waiting for her to come home.
Let me know what your favorite quests are in Skyrim, and hopefully I'll cover them in the future. But until then, see you next time, traveler.